Good afternoon. Today is the 18th of August and I'm just on my way back from the filming location where Mr. Richardson from Furious Driving has just been filming my car from his channel. So expect a review of the Rover 45 to appear on the Furious Driving channel at some point in the future. The topic of today's video though is a bit different from that. It's actually about our Ssangyong and why we chose to buy that as opposed to any other car in the market. Before we get into that though, I do apologise for the fact that the review of the City Rover, which at this point in time hasn't been able to go up. I've been trying for 2 days to get that up onto YouTube and for some reason it's not finished processing. I've uploaded it 4 times in 2 different operating systems and I don't know what's up with it, but it just doesn't ever finish processing. It gets stuck on 95% and that's it. It just won't go up, which is most frustrating, and I don't know what to do about that really. I've had a similar thing happen before, but not to this extent. It just literally doesn't like it, which might be the algorithm telling me that the City Rover is not the greatest car in the world, but I couldn't possibly comment on that. But anyway, the reason we chose our Ssangyong really goes back to actually a long time ago. March 2019 was the first ever video that I made about what possibly might replace the Toledo that we had until last month, and that has gone to its new owner, who's a friend of ours, and so far she seems pretty happy, so that's good. One of the last things I think Mr. Coleman said to me when he went in it was that it would make a very good car for somebody, and I think it has done. It certainly was very good to us anyway. But we did consider the Seat Leon ST. There's actually a video of one of those on my channel from I think July or August 2019 that we filmed one, and it was one of the reviews that has had the least traffic of anything. I don't know why. The Seat Leon ST is a fantastic car, and I don't know why nobody wanted to watch the review, because we put a lot of effort into that, Mr. Franks and I, doing that review, and no one has watched it. But you know, it's maybe not the kind of car that does well on the channel. I know that a lot of you like MG stuff and now Ssangyong stuff, and you know, some more classic things like the Granada Mark II. But the Leon ST is a fantastic car, and it's just a shame that that one hasn't had this sort of level of interest that many others have. But never mind. We did consider one of those, but the deals just didn't work out in the end for what we were looking at the time. And if you're going to keep a car a very long time, and you know, we intend to keep a Ssangyong for quite a long time, maybe 5 years or so, then you don't really want the warranty of the car to run out after 3 years. You want to keep it a bit longer than that. So that was really one of the things we had to discount. Same thing with the Skoda Octavia. We just couldn't get the deal right on it. It just didn't work out, and you know, you can't have a 5-year warranty on a Skoda or a Seat unless you pay extra for it. Whereas on something like a Mitsubishi or a Hyundai or a Toyota, you get a 5-year warranty as standard. With MG, Ssangyong and Kia, it's a 7-year warranty as standard. So we did then look at other cars. We actually looked at Hyundai i20, which is one of the cars we looked at, and the problem with that one was that although it's a very spacious car for its size and the equipment looked okay, what I looked at specs and things, and that did come into our budget. The car just seemed a little bit too austere for us. The level of trim we were looking at, which was I think the 1 litre play model, just didn't feel much different to the MG3 that we used to have, and that of course was a bit of a problem, because if we wanted a car that felt like an MG3, we just could have kept our MG3, and that was, I think, a bit disappointing. It just felt very ordinary and not that exciting. The 1.2 I test drove, because we didn't have a 1 litre in stock at the dealership that I went, was drove a Kona 1 litre, and again the engine was okay, but the Kona is not a car I'm very fond of. I don't like the style of it particularly, and you can just go and buy an MG ZS really if you want one of those. An MG ZS was something we did consider, and we actually were offered a 68 plate one with very low mileage at quite a low price, which was good. But the problem with that was that we actually could get a couple of other cars a little bit newer for the same sort of money that was worth, and we looked at 5-year bank loan, MG obviously, 5-year warranty no problem, Kia 5-year warranty no problem, and we came very close to getting a Kia Ceed, not like the one which you saw in the walk around that I did. The Kia Ceed we were looking at was either 3 or Blue Edition model, which was the one which was level above the 2, which is the one you would have seen in the walk around. And of course we can't talk about diesels on the channel, so what we had to do really was look about the 1 litres, which again is fine, right? 1 litre engine in the Kias and Hyundais is the same. It's a pretty decent engine, but I just couldn't find a car with the right spec. Either they sell really quickly or there just weren't many around, and that was a car we came very close to purchasing because the deals on them were pretty good. And having seen the walk around of the 2 model, you'll notice as well that apart from the engine, I quite like the car. I just think in the 2 spec, which is what most of them are if you're looking at the second-hand market, the car is just too similar to a hire car, which is bizarrely what many of them actually were. So looking for a 3 or a Blue Edition was quite difficult. It wasn't easy, and eventually we had another look at a car that I'm very familiar with. If you notice how many times I talked about him channel previously, was Ssangyong. The only considerations I would say about the Ssangyong, which are sort of major things for me, which probably meant I didn't look at it previously, was the boot space is not anywhere near what it is on the Seat, nowhere near. I think I'm going to try Tivoli XLV quite soon, which is the longer version of the Tivoli, and that has a very, very big boot in it, so I could have bought one of those, but we don't use the boot space in the car as much as we used to when we first got the Seat, which is when we were first married. We don't use so much boot space, and we don't go to the same events we used to so often anymore, so we don't really need all that extra space. In terms of the rear space, Tivoli is pretty good, so does ZS. It was just down to the finer specifications between a ZS and a Tivoli in the end. But the Tivoli's engine is about as economical or more economical than a 1 litre ZS. The only one I'd consider for ZS for myself would be a 1 litre automatic exclusive. The post facelift car is not out for that yet, only the 1.5 manual, and as you'll notice from the ZS review that I did, it's a very, very, very good car, but I want a 1 litre automatic, and having driven the facelifted car now, I would always think if I was driving it, why didn't I get a post facelift car? Because they're just so much nicer. Pre-facelift cars are very, very good, don't get me wrong, and I got very close to buying one. It's just the post-facelift one is better by a large degree. You get better colours in it, the wheels look better, the interior is better, just so many things on the car are better. I'm not a massive fan of those heated controls that are in the touchscreen, but it's alright. I could have got used to it, I suppose. But we looked around at a couple of Sangyongs. I was thinking about it. The 1.6 petrol is not as economical as old Toledo was, but it's actually okay. It's more economical, I think, than a 1 litre automatic ZS, and it isn't quite as economical as a 1 litre Ceed would have been, but it's not too far off. And the power figures all of them are about the same, between 110 and 120 horsepower for all 3 of those cars, so you know, it makes no difference really. In fact, the Tivoli's 128 horsepower, it's the most powerful of all. But I don't have an everyday car, particularly myself, to be the fastest or anything like that. I have it because it's practical and comfortable and has all the right equipment. And with the Ssangyong, there was just a huge level of equipment that we could have for the same money as the ZS. With pre-facelift ones, they're missing a few key features that I wanted, like the Android Auto capability and the lane keeping assist were the key ones that I wanted. And the post-facelift ZS automatic will have those, but the pre-facelift one doesn't have them, and that's a bit of a shame really. With the Seeds, you can get Android Auto, you can get lane keeping assist, that's standard on all cars, but the spec I wanted a 3 or Blue Edition never materialised, and we had got this situation where we needed the second car to come quite quickly, and we just running out of time. And I happened to see that one in Frome. It's not personally my ideal colour choice. I like dark blue or dark green cars with light coloured leather interiors, and you know, it's a silver car with a black leather interior, but because our 45 is a very similar colour choice in that way, and you know, you want to buy a 45 V6, you really can't be too fussy about the colour because there are so few of them left, particularly one in this condition, that you know, you just accept it. So I thought, well, the price was pretty good. There was another one that was an auto that was a bit less, but I wouldn't want an auto Tivoli pre-facelift anyway, really, because again, the fuel economy is not very good on those. Having got 49 miles per gallon out of the manual Tivoli that we have on a long motorway run, I'm pretty happy with that. That's okay. It's you know, it's proven itself to be quite a good car, the Tivoli, even if the boot space isn't you know, as big of a sad in any means at all. Actually, this Rover's got a bigger boot in many ways, but it's fine, you know. But what we need most of the time, it doesn't really matter, and we can always take this one as want to on holidays, which we already have done, and there's loads of room in this, so it's not so much a problem. And it is just nice and comfortable. It's got these little funny quirks in it, and the full review of the Tivoli will explain that a bit more to you. But if you are thinking about a car in that class, the 2 favourites I have are the Tivoli and the ZS. Both have been facelifted this year, and they just represent such good value for money because of the long warranty on them as well. You don't want that old-fashioned 1.6 petrol that my car has. There's 2 new petrol engines in the new Tivoli. Eventually the ZS will come with that 1 litre engine or a 1.3 for the automatic, and that will probably be better for a lot of people. The 1.5 in the ZS only comes as a 5-speed, which again, you know, that did put me off having had a 5-speed manual 1.5 MG3 for many years. I just wanted something a bit different. I wanted a 6-speed gearbox, and that's what Tivoli had a 6-speed gearbox. So all these little nuances and things like that we sort of worked it out as, and I think with the Tivoli as well, that saved us something like £7 on the insurance or something. The insurance is slightly cheaper than the Toledo was. Why? I have no idea, but for some reason it was. So there you go. There's some of the reasons why we ended up in the position where we were. And maybe it's not the most exciting video, but one of you asked, and I thought it might be good to talk about it. And yes, we'll be obviously monitoring the Tivoli, how long we keep it, which might be a very long time actually. And we're going to be filming some more Sangyongs for the channel, I believe, next week. You know, don't hold me 100% to that. I think we are doing it. It looks like that's worked out. So I hope you'll be enjoying those videos too. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Don't forget to like this video and to leave a comment below. And hopefully that City Rover review will be able to go up at some point too. You're not the only ones who are looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to having that on the channel as well. But I think that's about it for now. And so, see you again soon.